has slipped away for Leicester. Started well, 2 goals in 3 minutes for Curtis Jones, did the damage in the first half. Trent Alexander-Arnold thundered home a free kick in the second period to make the point safe. Leicester will have to hope this weekend now that results go their way before next Monday's trip to Newcastle United. But as things stand, there is an awful lot of work to do if they are to stay in the Premier League. Full-time score, Leicester 0, Liverpool 3. Matt Elliott, your final words on a night which we hoped for much, but in the end Liverpool's class shone through.
Yeah, hoped against hope, really. In the opening period, there was reason for a little bit of belief. Showed a little bit of tenacity and energy and tried to take the game to Liverpool as best they could, but ultimately it's ended up quite a harrowing evening, really. The supporters have struggled to face it, and when the inevitable became conclusive, some of them disappeared early for some reason, understandable. Many supporters still sticking it out and supporting to the very last, and they'll continue to do so. But yeah, it's very damaging, the performance and the manner of it as well. I mean, we know Liverpool are a level above, but ultimately the gulf was huge, wasn't it, compared to not so long ago. And it's pretty reflective of how things have become at Leicester City, unfortunately. This group of players look downbeat. Going up to St James's next Monday, it's not going to be much easier than it was tonight. Big, strong, physical, powerful team with technical ability. How do they pick themselves up? Tough job for Dean Smith, but they've got to get over tonight first. But must battle on, have to battle on. It's easier said than done, but they can't give up the ghost now.
Well, there is one flag being flown by a Leicester fan which says "Stronger together, the battle." And after a sobering night, those words could not be more true ahead of Newcastle and West Ham. But this evening it's finished here. It's the Liverpool fans you can hear. Leicester 0, Liverpool 3.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, bitterly disappointing evening again here on Filbert Way at King Power Stadium for Leicester, who have fallen to a 3-0 scoreline against Liverpool News, and that was really a tough evening.
Yeah, especially the second half, it just petered out, didn't it? No real chances to go on, really. But then obviously the fair goal, just a bit of different class from Trent Alexander-Arnold. Straight off the training ground, a little back heel by Salah. Obviously Daniel probably thinks he's going to reverse it, but goes the keeper's side and just sticks it in the top bin and game over. And after that, it was just like a training match, wasn't it? Leicester couldn't really leave a glove on Liverpool in the end.
Yeah, I think there's obviously the two big moments, or the two biggest moments, and obviously Alexander-Arnold's third goal, which completely killed the game off, even though Liverpool looked comfortable throughout that second half. And obviously just before they took the 3-goal lead was the chance for Harvey Barnes. It might have been an issue with an offside there, but we'll never know. But if that goes in, that's, you're saying, does that change the dynamic of the game? We'll never know. But that was a big moment in the match. But as Nuge says, Liverpool again. In fairness to Dean Smith, he changed things. He stuck another striker up top, and then the gaps just appeared. He's taken a gamble on trying to score a goal and get back in, and the gaps just appeared for Liverpool. And it could have been more at the end. Salah again might have been a call for offside from Salah, but he's straight through. You're expecting him to score that, and he puts it 2 yards wide. Very unlike him. So they had a few chances, few right passes right at the end, which you wouldn't expect Liverpool to make as well when they had men in forward positions, and clean grass to run into.
It was just that one pass where
One
every time Leicester lost the ball, one pass. It was like 4v3 every time against the back line, and just so open. We're just trying to get that goal.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have any complaints about the result at the end of the night. Liverpool deserved to win this game. They withstood the challenge that Leicester threw at them in the first half for the opening 20-25 minutes, whatever it was, and they rode that storm, so to speak, and came out the other side, and then you have to say they cruised to victory.
Which is probably why the fans did leave when they did, or the majority left when they did, because it was a cruising in the end for Liverpool, which is why it probably angered the fans a little bit in that second half.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the players give up. It's just Liverpool were just too good for Leicester in the end. Obviously the fair goal goes in, 3-0, game over. Everyone doesn't want to see it no more. You think the fans probably think it's going to be 4-5 then, but rightly so. They paid the money to come and watch, and if they're not happy, then they got the rights to leave and go home and spend the night at home. But it's hard to be positive in it. It's just another disappointing result against a really good side who are going for top 4. But I don't know. It's one of them nights, and it's disappointing for all round. For the whole club, knowing that we're still in the relegation zone with Newcastle, who are just as good as Liverpool. They're above them in the league. Big, strong, powerful side, like Matty said before at the end of the game, and it'll be just as hard.
I think you have to look back to the first goal down for the way this result ended up. And when confidence is on a knife edge, you can't afford to make mistakes. And because I'm not just blaming or saying it was White Foss's fault, but what I'm saying is you make mistakes and the opposition capitalise on that mistake, then that confidence just starts to waver to the wrong side of that knife edge. And I think that's what you've seen tonight, was little by little, just the confidence in the players eroding because of the mistakes that were made in the lead up to the 2 of the goals anyway.
Because certainly for 15-20 minutes, and then up until that point, what was it, about half an hour
Correct.
in, Leicester were in the game and they looked good. The crowd was on side.
Yeah, and as a manager and as a coaching staff, there's only so much you can do in that dressing room. And they'll have been trying their best all week, whether it's on the training pitch, whether it's in a meeting room, watching videos, convincing the players that they've got a chance of winning this game. But when you go out onto the pitch and make mistakes, and as I said, the opposition capitalise on those mistakes, then it's an uphill battle. And especially when you're in the position that Leicester are in at the minute. It's just, you have to, it's just doubly hard, it's triply hard, and in the end, as we've seen with that second half, it probably should have been more from Liverpool in the end, and that's the confidence just falling to the wrong side of that knife edge.
Yeah, everyone just seemed to go against you when you're down at the bottom of the league. Just little breaks in play going against Liverpool, counter-attacking. Just little stuff when you're down there. Nothing seems to go your way, and we've seen that tonight. It was just the third goal just killed the game off, didn't it? It was just like 3-0, game over. Liverpool training match. Leicester tried huff and puff, didn't try as hard, but I don't know. It's just
it's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard because
the
the players are trying. You're watching James Maddison, who's been Leicester's best player this season for me, and even he's like, normally he would find a bit of space, thread a pass. That's his game. And tonight you see him taking 3, 4, 5 touches where you expect him to just take 1 or 2 and then get a good pass off him. And even he wasn't, playing his normal, fluent game that we're used to seeing him play. So it's hard for everybody. It's hard for us sitting here talking about it and watching it. It's hard for the players. And as I say, it's so difficult. Leicester, 21 games have had a clean sheet. And if you can't keep clean sheets, you can't win games of football all the time. It's as simple as that. And especially when you're at the bottom, you have to somehow find a way to keep a clean sheet. And unfortunately, the majority of the goals that have been conceded, in my opinion, have been down to mistakes, not the opposition, pulling Leicester apart with their football. It's mainly been down to mistakes, and that is the worst sort of goal for confidence to concede is when it's one of your own teammates making a mistake that leads to an opposition goal. It's really, really hard.
Yeah, just saying about we not a problem with scoring goals. As I said before,
Absolutely.
we've scored more goals than Aston Villa, and
Yeah.
they're sitting in 8th. It's just at the other end where they've had a solid back four all season, and they keep clean sheets. You've got a great goalkeeper who's really World Cup winner. And you've got a solid back four who play week in, week out, keep clean sheets, and that's what wins games sometimes. When you just get a little goal off a set piece, go 1-0 up, and you know you're short at the back to keep a clean sheet. And yeah, it's just we just can't keep a clean sheet. 21 games, no clean sheet. It's just.
And not only that, it's conceding the first goal as well.
6 games in a row now under Dean Smith.
Yeah.
So.
Conceding the first goal is massive. If you're going to give yourself a chance of winning a game of football on a regular basis, you have to start scoring the first goal, and that gives you something extra to cling on to. It really does. And the lads will tell you that it sort of reinforces that focus when you go 1-0 up. And it makes it harder for the opposition because they have to work even harder to try and break you down. But if you're conceding the first goal in multiple games of football, again, you find your confidence just dropping the wrong side of that knife edge.
Matt, obviously you're still with us, Matt Elliott, after being on co-commentary for that game. Obviously, it's hard because for 30 minutes before that goal, Leicester were in that game, but then as soon as that went in, as Jerry's been saying, not necessarily heads dropped, but Liverpool's heads certainly came up, didn't they? And it was a real uphill task from that moment onwards.
Yeah, and I feared that was always going to be the case, to be honest. But if they didn't make that impression early on or get the advantage, then it was going to be difficult because it's right. Most people would agree, I suppose. Leicester made a contest of it, and certainly first 20, even 30 minutes. But you always felt that the quality of Liverpool was going to come through, or the vulnerability of Leicester would shine through, and it proved to be the case. Not that shine's necessarily the right word, but I always thought that was going to be an issue. That Liverpool, I think I mentioned it on the commentary, Liverpool got that belief and the knowledge that they know they can go the full 9 yards, if you like, throughout the game. At some stage, they can manage games. And so Leicester haven't got that confidence about themselves at the moment. There is a fragility about them, and it was almost as if, like, right, we'll give it a go earlier on, and if that doesn't work, I'm not quite sure where we're going to go, sort of thing. And then ultimately, a mistake, partially a mistake, but a highly avoidable goal again. And then the shoulders naturally slump. It's human nature, I suppose, isn't it? Because it's happened so many times, and the inevitable became apparent, didn't it? Sort of as soon as that first goal went in. Never mind the second, which followed soon after.
It was the game plan that changed as well. Like Leicester's game plan at the start was to get in the faces, stop Liverpool from playing out, make them go long.
That was never going to last, though, was it? Not going to happen all the game.
But then as soon as Liverpool scored,
but it could have done if it was still 0-0 at half time.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have been able to sustain
for the whole
game.
Yeah.
It's going to be periods, whatever. But conceding the goal obviously
changes everything.
Yeah.
But they stopped doing it then. It was like these said, we're 1-0 down, we have to revert back to like 10 men behind the ball. Where for the first half an hour it looked good, didn't it? Like getting in the faces, making Alisson go along. But then obviously we concede the goal and everyone just drops back a bit, and it just let Liverpool do their own thing then. Because Liverpool just continue doing the same thing.
I suppose the worry is, News, like that 1-0, because it was a bit of a gamble early on anyway, isn't it? But you go 1-0 down and you still want to be in their faces. You think, oh, if they do carve through us. But as it turned out, they conceded a second anyway.
Yeah, and as the first goal, I've already mentioned it was crucial in the game. Comes from a long pass, where that's what Leicester have set up for, make them play it long, and you go and win the first contact. And unfortunately, they just got caught out of position slightly, and Liverpool capitalised on that. And as you say, that's what you set up to do, and it doesn't work. Then again, you see a couple of players being indecisive. We spoke about that at half time. In their decision making, they're thinking Shala Shanta, and then by the end they've made their mind up, it's too late. And that just sort of crept in as that first half went on. And unfortunately, the second half, as was seen, was well, I wouldn't say it was a training game for Liverpool, but they were pretty comfortable.
Yeah, easy, very easy.
Obviously, there's still 2 games to go, Matt. Newcastle away next week, and then that final game at home to West Ham. It isn't all doom and gloom. That there is still time for Leicester to turn this around, of course.
There is, yeah, on the face of it. The reality might prove something different, but I mean, you're pushing your luck a bit, aren't you? If you're relying on, let's say, getting a positive result well, it's got to be a win against West Ham. So something's got to be done against Newcastle, you would imagine, because all the teams in and around Leicester, you can't assume that they're all going to fail. I know they've got difficult fixtures in their own rights, but you've got to go and prove yourself worthy, really, and get something against the odds. And they haven't done that for a long while, Leicester, have they?
I tell you what, it was good to see Johnny Evans coming through a full game, and he's going to be pivotal. If you know, he will, his fitness will improve massively.
If only he'd been fit for more.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a conversation for another day about if
there are a lot of if onlys.
If onlys, absolutely, and we haven't got enough time to go through them all, unfortunately. But we showed a leadership quality. Yes, he's tired, but you expect that. He hasn't played for, I don't know how many months it is, but it's a long, long time since he's played a game.
He showed leadership qualities today. I agree. I thought he was, on a poor night, I thought he was probably Leicester's best player. And he was, bossing and cajoling, and still it wasn't enough.
No, absolutely.
It shouldn't need him to boss the back 4 or midfield. It should be contributing to that, but they seem, not all at sea, but sort of out of sorts defensively. They should be able to recognise things themselves, not rely on Johnny Evans to do it. Castagna he played them onside, didn't he? And just before in the first goal, and I think there was an instance just before that where Johnny Evans tried to play offside a little bit, and I think Castagna dropped in behind anyway. And there's a couple of instances, and experienced players, like international players, they should be dictating things as well, because despite Johnny Evans' efforts, valiant though they were, after how long he's been out to come up against Liverpool, thanks very much, but he did really well.
All I'm saying is, if there is a glimmer of hope,
of course, it'll make a difference. Yeah.
You can tell he's tired towards the end, which is understandable, but the fitness he'll get from that moving forward, playing that, and he'll rest up for a few days, train for a couple of days, and get ready for the next game. If Leicester do have any chance of staying in the league, then Johnny Evans is going to be central to it defensively.
It moves on to that huge game, of course, then, doesn't it? In a week's time against Newcastle United, as ever, on Matchday Live here on LCFC TV. You can follow all of the action. We'll be doing the build-up again. It's another Monday night, isn't it? The fourth Monday on the Spin. It's an 8 o'clock kick-off again. That means you can join us from 7 for that trip to St James's Park, and then you can also, if you're not sick of Jerry and Matt's voice, you can watch or listen to a brand new podcast with Ewan Roberts. That is available on YouTube to watch on YouTube, or listen to wherever you get your podcasts. Yes, no more David Nugent, but that still is available, of course, if you want to listen to that one. But no, it's been another chastening, disappointing evening for the Foxes, but there's still 2 games to go. Thank you very much to Matt Elliott, to Jerry Taggart, to David Nugent, and to James Justin for joining us on Matchday Live this evening. Another bad one, but there's still 2 to go. Good night.